Welcome back. If you want to match packets based on source MAC address, use the -m/MAC match option. Note that you can filter Ethernet or wireless traffic only by source MAC address and not by destination MAC address. This match could be very useful sometimes. Imagine you have a server in your local network and want to allow only a list of trusted machines to access the services that are running on the server. Or you have a NAT router that is running Linux and want only the corporate devices to access the internet. Or in other words, you don't allow devices that are not yours or trusted in your network. Keep in mind that MAC addresses are only valid inside the local area network. The first router towards destination will change the source MAC address of the packet with its own MAC address, the MAC address of its outgoing interface. Also note that you cannot impose a strong security policy based on MAC addresses because MAC addresses can be spoofed easily. When we want to match packets by source MAC address, we use -m/MAC match. In this example, we are dropping any incoming packets, it's the input chain, that are coming on WLAN 0 interface and have that given source MAC address. Let's see two more use cases. The first task is to drop incoming packets that are coming with a specified MAC address, and the second task is to configure the NAT router, which of course is running Linux, to permit the access to the internet only to a list of trusted devices or MAC addresses. Let's do the first task. I'll drop all incoming traffic to Linux 1 if the source MAC address is that of Linux 2. MAC belongs to layer 2, so if you are dropping by MAC address, you are dropping all protocols like IP, ICMP, TCP, UDP, and so on. First, I want to test that the connection between Linux 2 and Linux 1 is up. Perfect, ping is working. Let's see what is the MAC address of Linux 2. This is the MAC address and I'll copy it to the clipboard. And on Linux 2, I'll write the iptables rule. iptables -a input, its incoming traffic, -m/MAC, -/MAC -source, and I'll paste the MAC address. -j drop. Let's ping this host again. We notice that ping is not working anymore. And we notice that ping is not working anymore. I am stopping the ping command. Back on Linux 1, let's list the firewall. And we see a lot of matched and dropped packets. All packets that have this source MAC address will be dropped. Let's move on and do the second task. I'm gonna create a script and write there all the necessary iptables rules. As in all other examples, at the beginning I am flashing the input chain. Because there could be tens of MAC addresses that I must permit, I'll define a new variable and store those MAC addresses in that variable. So this is the name of my new variable, permitted max equals and a list of MAC addresses separated by comma. the first MAC address, the second MAC address, the third, and so on. I'll change something at each MAC address to have different addresses. It's good practice to write variables in uppercase letters. Don't use spaces on the left and right side of the equal sign and use white space between addresses. Now, using a for loop, I'll iterate over the list of MAC addresses and run an iptables rule for each MAC in the list. So for MAC, this is a temporary variable in $permitted max. Do and done. Between do and done, we have the for block of code. So iptables minus a forward, remember that we are a router, minus m mac minus minus mac minus source, $mac, minus j accept. And I'll print out a message to know what the script is doing. Echo $mac permitted. And finally, I'll set the policy to drop on the forward chain. So all other packets that were not accepted will be dropped. iptables minus p forward drop. Perfect. I am saving the firewall, then I'll make it executable and run it. We see how these 4 MAC addresses have been permitted. Only the packets from devices with those MAC addresses can access the internet. This kind of script is useful also for a local server. If you want a LAN server to be accessed only by a list of trusted hosts, you just replace the forward chain by the input chain. When you want to add or to remove a MAC address from the list, you simply remove that address from the list, save the script, and run it again. I have removed 2 addresses. Sorry, I've noticed a small error. Here, there's the forward chain, not input. Okay, I am saving the script and then run it again. Now, only these 2 MAC addresses are permitted. You see that it's very easy to add or to remove MAC addresses from the list.